Hey everybody, welcome back to Old Bearded Gaming. Sorry for the delay in video post. We had some family stuff to take care of, a little bit of travel. We're back. We're looking to get caught up, and we've got some editing. So let's jump right into it. Hardcore World 34. We are running from 34 through Hardcore World 50. Yes, we sucked that bad. I'm ashamed to say, but yeah, there were some lulls along the way and some just really head scratchers, to be perfectly honest. So we're going to navigate through, do some editing here, and take you along for the ride. So thanks for staying with us, having patience, and let's get you caught up on the struggle bus. So 34 would start in a really spectacular fashion. It's not a water landing, it's desert. There's a battle tower nearby. Quite a lot to actually be hopeful for with this run. So we set off into it, and we look to get established. Very important. Get that first stick. We'd get a few tools, get some things going, find a little village, take it for everything that it's worth, and basically just get down to work, right? As you've seen me do a number of times in the early game. So nice little town in the distance. We'd have a nap, reset, start pillaging. Pretty fruitful, actually. A lot of resources here. We do a little bit of exploring. Check out this little trap chest area. These are always kind of cute, although I never seem to find anything good. I don't know why I even bother. Just a little gunpowder in this one. Useful, but not impressive. The little floating island, though, a little barge, whatever you want to call it, can have some pretty useful stuff. They can also occasionally have some lower end baubles, which can give you a nice little boost to the early game. Sadly, this one didn't, but there was some pet armor there to be able to smelt down. But we would run into difficulties. You've seen this. It's the pink screen of death. Beautiful sirens, but we would say not today. This was a successful fighting off of the sirens, something that hadn't happened in any of the previous playthroughs. I really, honestly, didn't think that there was going to be any sirens around, given that this was an inland piece of water, surrounded by land all the way around. But doesn't seem to matter if there's little rock formations or anything anywhere in the body of water. I guess they can spawn. So we'd move on from there. We'd find what I like to call the XP cube. A little cobblestone structure that has basically 2 spawners in it for some zombies. We'd set up a little hut, protect ourselves from anything that may get outside or spawn from the outside world, as we're trying to pay attention to what's spawning on the inside. Get covered, get protected. We'd eventually bring some water in here to stay cool. It is hot, but yeah, these guys just kind of line up and get ready for the beatdown. So as I'm watching this in replay, it occurs to me I'm being pretty loosey-goosey. We were rewarded. We got enough heart shards there with some of the infernal mobs to be able to put together 2 heart containers, which was great. Interesting side effect of the heart containers as we clean house here and tend to the gardens in this little town. As you use them, the initial one added extra hearts to the head and body. The use of the second one took those away and extended them to the legs and feet, which I thought was kind of interesting. Here we're doing a little bit of reverse duck hunting, sitting in the water, shooting outwards. Again, just kind of cleaning up a little bit, getting some of that free experience. You can see we're sitting pretty flush with levels. All in all, this playthrough was going fairly well. And those guys are interesting. Had no idea where he came from. A lot of poison being thrown around. As it was, he'd battle it out with one of the in-town Aegises. They'd go off and beat each other for a while. But we sought out to get to work. We need more. So this little structure here, we've come across these before. Last time we were kind of skirting a dragon on the outside. We were kind of working our way on the left side. This time I decided to go for the right side because we had a pretty good Vindicator spawn going on inside. Set up a little shop similar to the XP cubes, and just start going to work. Was using the bow because, at first I wanted to make sure we were handling single targets. I didn't want to take a mad slash at something and accidentally hit something with Vengeance, Ninja, etc. But we got a little more loosey-goosey with it, summoned some Reapers because of all of the death. Those were fun to deal with. And here we've got our first special Infernal mob with Storm. And silly me, I didn't have an entire solid roof over my head. I had one square open to be able to look out, and the lightning bolt got me. So if you're going to fight something with Storm, make sure you're covered all the way across the top. So we take some of our treasure, levels, and loot, head back to deposit in our chest and our base, do a little bit of farming on the way back, free experience. All the free experience. Although unless it's a port city, which we've not had a start in, there really isn't enough in these little farms to make a huge impact. You can pretty much give it kind of a miss, but it only costs 4 levels of experience to get to level 4 to be able to take potatoes and carrots out of the ground along with the wheat. I guess it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't need to be a priority. Playing inventory manager as one does, sleeping the night off. We'd wake the next morning, look to head back out and get back to work, handling some of those Vindicators and seeing what else we could accomplish. And I happened to take a different route and found the source of the flying poison guys. So we decided to cover this all up, make this a non-issue, just trying to make where we're living a little safer. So we do that, and then I do something incredibly stupid. We come in here, there was no spawn. I figure, okay, I'm doing all right, and I totally forgot Banshees can spawn in these places. We saw it happen before. This one happened to spawn as Scarlet, and for whatever reason, I tried to lock it out with a fence. Wasn't really thinking because they obviously can go through any sort of a wall. By then, damage was already done. I was on 1 heart, and it did not take long for the Banshee to make this a non-issue. It's all right, 35. Nice little forest landing. It's not water. I'll take it. Obviously, we would get a stick and much, much more. We'd find another little experience cube here and kind of build our way to start going. Getting some experience. And so this was a kind of a scuffed battle tower, but definitely some spawners to be had. Came at it from the backside where the staircases are, which is kind of my preferred way of coming into these now. Got a lucky swing there with something with Vengeance. Was glad that didn't crit and that I had a little bit of armor on, although that is a potential one-shot kill to me if I hit hard enough. Vengeance does a portion of damage back regardless of armor. And sadly for me, that was the end of this run. I turned my back on something that had ninja. It came right back up, and it ninja'd us in the back. Had potential. I was feeling really good about this run. It seemed like we had some good progress, but just wasn't to be. It's all right. There's always another one. 37. Cold. Definitely very cold. This aerosaur was suffocating. Welcome to RlCraft. Dragon nonsense in the distance. You see the snow falling from all the trees being obliterated and turned to ash. That's our cue to go the other way. We'd actually make a friend. One of the first times that I've tamed something, so that was kind of cool. But we weren't able to rest. As you see there, the blood moon is rising. So it was event time. I thought, well, okay, we can get some experience out of this. We've died to blood moons before, but I was going to be cautious this time. So we fenced it off outside of our 2 points of entry. Figured I'd be able to contain the mobs that came and just kind of handle everything from the safety and relative distance of the inside. And it started out okay. We handled these little frost spider guys pretty okay. We take on some zombies as well, which really not too much of a problem at all. Um, really kind of thought this was going to do it. Making real good experience, relatively low risk. I heard some skeletons out there. That's why we go with the trapdoors to just kind of put up a little bit of a toggleable shield so that they can't just shoot straight in. Should they make eye contact line of sight with us, did not want to get sniped. Cleared away some of the riffraff here, be able to get that other one posted up, and allows us a little bit more control over the environment when we place it properly, of course. I still keep sticking with these great swords, although I think we're changing that up in the near future. This guy scared me, I'll be honest. Wargs are kind of dangerous, but we had a special come our way. Again, with that ninja prefix, ninja can do the exact same thing that vengeance can do. And we ended up with a paralyzing, ticking damage effect, and just was not able to heal through it. Did not realize that it had cloaking as well, and was actually on the inside. It teleported because of the ninja. My puppers got redemption, killed it, but then despawned because I was no more. Very sad. Hardcore 38, we're getting much closer to 40. I was getting nervous. And a water landing. It was overdue, to be perfectly honest. So we do what we normally do in the water landing. Take a look, see what structure is nearby. Usually one of a couple different ones. This one was a small little charter yacht. Has a couple of villagers inside of it. We don't usually see these guys, but it was bad luck because it was locked. So visual rage, obviously, at not being able to get the goodies. And as we were pondering what to do, being stuck here with that sea serpent and where we were going to go, realized I didn't have anything in my inventory that was going to help. And it ended up being a bit of a non-issue anyways, because the sea serpent kind of had other ideas for me. Yeah, that happens. Almost embraced cowardice there and walked away, but I said, you know what? We're going to do 39. We're going to make it happen. So we get right into it. We'd end up in a forest. That's perfect. You know, I got to get my sticks. But the game had other ideas in the way of lag. That's okay. We get our stick, we get a rock, we'd move on. This was amazing. These self-contained cities are absolutely fantastic. Definitely in agreement for this. We'd waste no time. We'd get inside, we'd start plundering, tearing the buildings down. Plenty of villagers inside to trade with. Lots of resources to be had. All of this wool can be broken down into string, can be traded with fletchers, can be traded with fishermen. There's really just a almost endless supply of experience to be had. And so we let it flow. You know, we were getting leveled up. I made the mistake though of thinking that I wanted to permanently stay here and kind of work outwards from this place as opposed to just looting it for everything it was. So as you can see, I went about trying to mob-proof it and setting lights everywhere because we had a plethora of torches harvested from around the city. Was not the best of idea. It really wasn't. We had mobs still spawning in the streets. I should have just slept and made it daytime, you know, and come back and done it in the morning. We decided to go toe-to-toe with the Strider, end up handling the Strider, but we are a little worse for wear because of the efforts. And then, lo and behold, a warg jumps down. I don't even notice it until it hits me right there. And it was game over. Can't blame the lag on that. Sorry, Death. So that was a bit of a bummer. But, you know, 40, it's a nice even number, so we'll jump right into it. It would be cold again. It's either water or cold. There doesn't seem to be much happy medium. we'd have another one of those. Yeah, we're definitely not set up to be able to handle that right now, even with my stick. I'm taking this too, and this. So we'd move on. We had to get ready to be able to tackle something like that. We'd find another XP cube, set up some barriers to keep ourselves protected, and get to work. Getting paid, making money, leveling up. We'd empty that for all it's worth, head out exploring. We'd find a obsidian tower. Let me save you the hassle. There's absolutely nothing inside of that whatsoever. If you have a way to break down obsidian, great. You can get some obsidian. But there's dragon nonsense about as well. And we didn't really need to stick around. So we moved on. Said hey to my boy Gary. And found our way into a nice lush, look at that. It's another city. Well, this time I was determined I was not going to waste the opportunity that this place brings with it, right? So we came in and immediately started plundering, taking that emerald. We're checking the bounty board. We're looking to see if there's anything we can do. I can make an iron greatsword. And we'd start trading. These guys come pre-locked up in these positions. So, you know, they don't run around too much. They're relatively safe from danger. There really isn't much need to mob-proof the city since the Arguses will kind of take care of it so long as you're sleeping. And, you know, we spent just a ton of time there. Said goodbye after we got geared up. Obviously, we've got some iron. We've got, you know, some tools and resources and armor. And we're going on an adventure. So we're going to head over that way. See what's doing. Take care of some baddies along the way. This guy's not a problem, but man, I hate these little birds. You hear that thunking sound. They don't do a ton of damage. It's just annoying, and they are relentless. I've had them follow me in boats like thousands of blocks away. They just don't give up. Did you notice that dragon over there to the right? I thought you did. Another worthless obsidian tower. But we'd find what we were looking for, an opportunity to get back to work. Another battle tower. Another scuff one, though. You know, nothing overtly great inside, so we'd build a little hovel around and decide to use it for farming purposes. But this one was interesting because there was an odd mix of folks coming in from the top floor with those creepers. Skeletons shooting, trying to get to me, shooting them, triggering them, dudes jumping off the roof. Baby zombie coming in from the right side. I lost him for a second. The grass got in my way. This was just a crazy, crazy sequence of events. Got a rock out there in the distance. He's fixing to pick up creepers and drop them on my head. They're blowing up part of the battle tower. We had to reset. So I went underground. I said, well, most of this battle tower is buried anyway, so let's just dig down and kind of systematically work our way through this. See if we can get leveled up and get something going. We were making pretty good hearts, too, as you can see there from the right-hand side. But it was around this time that really reflection sat in of I need to quit blindly swinging at things thinking that I can take them. There's just a handful now of brightly highlighted infernal mob configurations that if I see, we're not poking them with anything. So we'd end up in 41, getting closer to 42, the main world, but more on that later. We'd cross some deserts, we'd find a little desert town, and once again we'd get to work. Start looting it for everything it's worth, getting geared up, taking all the goodies. I love watermelon, by the way. When I see these little lumber yards or whatever they are, the watermelons are great because they give both a good amount of food as well as water, and you can carry obviously a huge stack of 64 of them, so it's kind of nice. We'd set to work in this experience cube here. This one's a slightly different version. This one has several spawners on the inside, and there's a couple of chests to get after a little later, but look at that, Wither with Vengeance. So not only is it going to reflect damage back, but the Wither's going to tick damage So unless we're prepared to heal through and be able to take the initial blast, best leave it alone. So I went back to town, kind of reset things. We'd go back and see what was doing later. Or at least we'd try to. It was at this point that I realized I don't know why I was running toe-to-toe at these bats. We hadn't really encountered them in any of our hardcore playthroughs, but I've fought them plenty of times in other versions, but I forgot all about the bleed. And that bleed ticks. So there was extra damage going on there that I just was not calculating for. But then I said, you know what? It's 42, so it's time for the meme world. This was going to be the answer to life and all questions of the universe. Was really excited for this, and thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a serious, slow and steady start. Of course, it would be deep down in the ocean, and it would end immediately like that. F's in chat, boys. F's in chat. The meme world ruined. Only one thing to do. Move forward. World number 43. Definitely not underwater. Taking this berry. Pretty quiet. A little cemetery action. Little, I don't even know what to call it. Like a floating island base. We'll see more of that later, but I learned from previous cemetery early game experiences and decided to take the time, get a couple tools so that we can make quick work of the spawners that we're going to uncover and be able to break them with an actual pickaxe instead of trying to do it with just our favorite stick. As you'll see, this is much, much faster. Cha-ching! We'd empty that for everything it's worth. We'd find the little iron monolith here surrounded by the andesite, and we would end up spawning a golden version of the Geonock. And because of fantastic feedback from viewers like you, I remembered that the pickaxe does more damage against these guys, even though it visibly doesn't show it. You definitely see the health going down a little bit faster than the onesies that I would be getting if I was swinging my sword at it. So we'd take the rest of the iron here. We'd get pretty well flush with resources and just stop to appreciate the sunset. Have a sleep in the open meadow here, and we'd get going in the morning. Really scuffed battle tower. In fact, it had a singular spawner and just the one chest with really nothing in it. So there wasn't much to say about that. We'd go ahead and backtrack to this, call it floating base that exists. Now, I've seen these a couple times. I've spent some time inside, and while there's a lot of resources here to gather, the good stuff is behind this little wall here where it says abandoned storage behind this wall. The storage boxes for the most part are completely empty, but there is one storage bin completely all the way around the corner in the floor, and it always seems to have this exact loot. The enchantments may be a little bit different. I haven't paid that much attention to it, but there's always enchanted tools, weapons, plenty of resources, just all sorts of stuff to really get you going. But the longer you linger, the more things are going to start spawning on the inside here and then need to be dealt with before you can get out safely. So that's exactly what we do. We set up some slabs, keep stuff from being able to come through, handle it, get back out, and move on. It's just not a place to set up permanent camp, to be perfectly honest. There's also some lava source blocks in there. You can end up with cinders. They can merge and turn into things a little bit more terrifying. But we'd find here something that I thought was just a perfect combination. It was a battle tower with, and I call this the villa. I don't know honestly what it is, but because it was so close to that battle tower and the battle tower was going underground, I said, well, great, we're going to tunnel. Okay, it's like Charles Bronson in The Great Escape. We're digging tunnels. That's what we're doing. We'd get set up down here and start working our way through these guys and do it pretty smart. In fact, we'd find a number of infernal mobs attacking the ones that we knew to be safe, that weren't going to reflect damage back to us. And then when we found things that were a little bit more difficult to deal with, stuff with vengeance, ninja, um, you know, anything that could reflect it back at us. We went with the old flint and steel route and would look to set them on fire. So you'll see that here in just a moment as we keep going to work here, cleaning out the riffraff, getting that precious experience. Yes, getting those heart containers. I love this. This never gets old. We need to do this 10 times to max out hearts. We'll get there. But this guy is a prime example of something not to mess with. We definitely don't want to poke him with a stick. So we decided to get surgical, clear out guys all around it. The thought process here is I don't really want to waste all the experience by just setting everything on fire, because if you kill stuff with fire, the downside is you don't get any of the experience. You have to actually damage them first with a weapon. I've done it before where I've punched them open fist and it didn't seem to give me experience, but if I've taken a swing at them, then great. So this guy, I poke with a shovel. You know, it still did 2 hearts of damage to the head. Had that been a sword, it would have been game over. But there we go. Light them on fire. Got to be careful using wood slabs and things like this. They can obviously catch fire, you know, next to it. But this is a quick and easy way to deal with infernals, and they still drop items. So you're still going to get the goodies that they have, enchanted items. Here's another guy with vengeance. He's going to set them on fire. There you can see it burns slabs, it spreads the fire a little bit, you can put the flames out, you just got to pay attention, right? Just know what you're doing. I felt real good, again, about this progress. I always feel good about it. We're working our way through this battle tower. We got a nice little horde of zombies here. I see a special guy there with some vengeance. You know, we're doing okay. We got some extra protection with the head. That guy's near death. We'd you know, move on and up. We'd handle the next floor, you know, like a boss. Run in, break that spawner. We're not sitting around letting it all spawn out. And then we'd get to the top, and that would happen. Rock dropped a creeper on our head, blasted us out of the battle tower, get stuck in a tree with limited health, and a skeleton on the ground would snipe us. That's RlCraft for you. It just had to go down that way. World 44. It's cold. No sticks. But we'd find one. We'd get out of the cold. Find an interesting little cabin here. The little book there talks about how to get to the lost cities, setting up the bed with the skulls and a way to be able to get there. So some lore, kind of a neat little structure. We'd spend some time here kind of going out in the area, getting some resources. I go to break these bookshelves, and then I realized, oh, there's sticky pistons here that would have moved those out of the way had I found the lever, which I didn't. But I hadn't seen this before, so I was like, this is way cool. We got to go explore. Well, I should have had a little bit more caution, because that's a chupacabra, and that's me trying to poke it with a torch for a really long time as I struggled to scroll my mouse wheel back to my sword, and instead of turning tail and run and getting the distance, we played leapfrog and I lost. So that was the thing. That happened. Onward. $45. I like it when I spawn in the plains. It's peaceful. Well, for the most part. Dragon nonsense. That's just our cue to go the other way. Yeah, don't want any piece of him. Taking my stick. And my rock. So we'd go from the plains to the Badlands. And another battle tower. Came across a little Stonehenge, and it looks like a trap. Like, that's a lot of gravel, right? So I'm like, well, okay. Yeah, definitely a trap. A lot of spawners down there. A lot of creepers. That's just going to be a bad time. Not touching that. So we'd find a nice little village in the woodlands just outside of the Badlands. Start trading. Getting experience. It's kind of my new go-to now, dealing with the villagers. Spending way probably too long out in the wilds, gathering the resources that we need. Sometimes the towns have a lot of the stuff I'm looking for to trade with, other times not. We'd go to clean out the rest of the town before moving on, and the church had a secret. Keeping a little poisonous ninja in the mix. But I felt confident that we could get lucky here, knew what to do. I would get incredibly lucky because I don't know what I was thinking. And thankfully, the ninja part of his infernalness did not kick in, and he did not teleport or reflect a ton of damage back. I just had to deal with the poison. We lucked out. That could have ended actually very, very badly. So we'd move on. We'd leave town. We'd deal with death, as one does. Handle it like a boss. And find a battle tower. And this one doesn't have moss all over it. So I was feeling pretty good about this. And then I realized, well, okay, it's kind of out there in the water. So we're gonna build a little shanty, little sea shed, as it were, by the beach. We're gonna get set up, and we're gonna bridge over there. And yeah, we took our time with it, right? Like we had a plan. So we deal with the natives, handle some of the tengu. There'd be some of those merfolk blue fish guys around as well. But we'd get bridged across, come at it from the side opposite to the stairs, right? And build a little workshop area here, to get busy with it. And from the height that we came in at, we were a little higher up than we probably needed to be, but I could still reach the spawner with the pickaxe, which was great. So I was thinking this was going to be pretty good. We're controlling the spawn a little bit, and just dealing with guys until I opened the door and realized I had a line of sight to 3 different skeletons that could all shoot me in the head. And that's what happens when all 3 of them shoot you at once, by the way. You end up on hardcore level 46. Underwater themed. And this time I would just simply do it to myself. Apparently I had given up the will to live. I decided I'm going to go see what's in this shipwreck, and I would die for some flesh and string. Couldn't get back to the surface. 47. Well, it's the plains, but it's awfully dark. But that means there's sticks, so can't all be bad, right? Well, I'd come across this interesting structure I'd not seen before. There's some skeletons in there, so I decided, well, let's deal with them, clear it out, and I want to poke my head in and see what's really going on with this place, because I've not come across this before in RlCraft. It's really dark in here, so I set about lighting it up, and as you can see, there's all these Steve heads everywhere, and redstone torches, and whatever this shrine is. If I'm not mistaken, lore-wise, I think they're trying to summon Herobrine, and I wanted no part of that. So we start looting all the resources that we could. Plenty of wool to be had in here. We've got glowstone, and there are some interesting stained glasses as well that you can take, but we grab what we could, head on out. Dragon nonsense. Yep. More dragon nonsense. And Cyclops nonsense. And a lighthouse. And sea serpent nonsense. Doing their aerial acrobats. And more dragons. Well, pick the lesser of all evils. Let's head out for the lighthouse. Make our way over here. Really isn't anything all that interesting to get excited about, but yay, we did it. So, had not seen 2 of the ocean castles spawn together like that. So I said, well, that's kind of neat. Let's go check that out. Maybe there's something cool there. But the sirens had other ideas. When am I going to learn to make earplugs if I'm going to go out on the ocean? I thought, well, I fought them off once before. We can do the same. I was wrong. I was wrong. Yes, RlCraft is kind of a bitch. Thank you, splash screen of death. But we'd keep at it. 48. Had potential. Could have happened. Except for the fact that it was cold. Very cold. And islandy. But we know how to combat that. And the first thing you gotta do is get warm. And one of the easiest ways to get warm is get wool. So we got wool. And lag. But mostly wool. So we'd take all that we could. We got a mega battle tower. We got a regular battle tower. We got a barge. And we've got the castle. Out of all of those things, only one thing is guaranteed to have heat, and it is that water castle with the one lava block. Sea serpent over there in the distance as we're around on the corner. The race to see who could get to the step first. And I would be victorious. So we'd warm up, get some resources, and head out. I like checking these little barges because you can get some good stuff. That ancient tome of looting 3, I would have loved to be able to get that on a weapon. But yeah, it was going to be probably some time before we'd ever see that to use. Sea serpents all abound, trying to figure out how to bait them, how to get them over, to deal with them, and then it dawns on me. They just jump on my head and sit there. This was the glitchiest thing that I had ever seen, but I wasn't going to complain either. So we decided to handle it. Because what else was I going to do? Couldn't walk around wearing it. Man, they got a lot of health. Like a lot of health. Okay, any day now. Really? Oh, thank goodness. Alright, we're out of here. So I decided to head towards the little ice village. This place is worthless, by the way. These guys have really nothing to trade for. They have no resources whatsoever. Interesting little dungeon above ground. Little purple dungeon. Probably should have went and tried to have a go at that, but we'd settle for gathering some resources and setting up shop at another little experience cube. Again, this is one of the larger ones. Has multiple spawners inside, all of them zombies. Trying to pay attention to what's in there. Obviously, we see the infernal mob. I need to quit grabbing weapons with the sweeping attack. This guy would have vengeance. We'd switch to a single target weapon with the axe. Does really good damage, actually. But stupidly, we would keep taking swings at things that could do damage back to us. You see the berserk ninja, and yeah, that happened again. I am going to learn this lesson and quit swinging at those guys. I swear, it's going to happen. But it was time for another world. We get out of the forest, get to the Badlands. There's nothing good about the Badlands. It has bad in the name. Get some resources, go to take a nap, and have to deal with death. This guy would run me all over the flipping Badlands as he didn't want to come down. Hours later, we're just finally getting to sleep. Reset the day, get back at it. Another scuff battle tower, but this one was kind of unique because it had blazes. And I thought, well, this is fantastic. It'd be great to get some blaze rods early game. Let alone the experience is pretty good from these guys. So let's block this thing off, close it up, and handle it systematically. Only these guys like to float outside. So we would have to run away, reset the battle tower, and then work our way back, close up the other side here. And by doing so, then we could set up shop and go to town. This was another kind of interesting sort of situation where you had multiple types of mobs that don't traditionally spawn together. So we've got zombies, we've got skeletons, we've got blazes. There's a lot going on in this battle tower, and spiders too. So the spiders are troublesome though, because at level like this, they can peek through these trapdoors. So they absolutely can work their way in. But we've got all kinds of craziness going down, just trying to make sense of all of it and not get stupid with the infernal mobs that are in there, but still be able to take advantage of some of the experience to be had. So we're taking our shots where we can, kind of ducking and weaving a little bit, trying to avoid getting shot by either skeletons or the blazes. And Ninja Ender. When am I going to learn? Well, it wasn't this game. I didn't learn in this one. And with that, folks, we are out. That was attempt 34 through 50. Join us next time as we will kick off attempt 51, the north side of the half-century mark. We're going to make it happen. I feel good about it. I hope you guys tune in again. Thank you guys all for watching and bearing with us. We'll see you again next time.